Hello and welcome to Channels Sports on Sunday. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Today will definitely be another big issue because we'll be talking about the CAF Women's Champions League currently going on in Morocco. Bayelsa Queens registered their first win at the group stage. Of course, later tonight they will be taking on Wadi Degla, a team that are yet to win any game at all. Should they win this one, they will be in the semi-finals. So you would say they might just become the first Nigerian team to get into the semi-finals of the CAF Women's Champions League. Rivers United tried it last time, but they couldn't go past the group stage. But the amazing thing about this particular Women's Champions League is the fact that as long as you're representing your region, obviously there's something for you to win, at least $100,000, which is the amount earmarked for at least at the group stage. Also on the program, we'll be taking a look at the national sports policy. Yes, everyone has been talking about this. It's been ongoing for a very, very long time, but finally it's been approved. It was presented. It was actually, it came with, after the sports minister felt we need to actually have something that should guide our sports policy. So those investing in sports will definitely have something to take away from it. It's not going to be jamboree anymore. We'll talk about that, of the national sports policy. Also, we'll talk about how the National Sports Festival in Delta State will be able to leverage on the sports policy. Of course, it's coming at this time where this festival is about to begin, and it's going to be 28th of this month. And of course, a countdown to the FIFA World Cup. We'll take a look at the top players from Africa that have been able to make the top 10 list, talking about the goals scored. Ahmed Musa, of course, Nigeria captain, is part of those players. We'll be telling you about those players that have scored more goals at the World Cup from Africa. Also, we'll take a look at the CAF Confederations Cup. The Nigerian teams are on the continent. The good news is the fact that both of them were able to register a massive win at home. So all they need to do once they go away to try as much as possible, avoid losing as much as a 3-0 or 4-0 for them to get into the group stage of the CAF Confederations Cup. Also, we'll take a look at Group H, which is the teams group will be profiling today at the FIFA World Cup. Those teams that are in Group H, of course, Ghana, they're there, Portugal also there, Uruguay is also part of the thing, and of course, South Korea will also get us talking. That's the teams you have in Group H. And you remember, Yumin Song happened to have a successful surgery just on Saturday, but then he's running I mean, against time. I don't know if he will be able to make it, but then everyone's talking about the fact that, you know, he is, when it comes to South Korea, he is the poster boy for the country. So he's facing a race against time, see if he can be ready for the World Cup, where Bento will have to be praying for him to be fit for the World Cup. These and so much we'll be talking about on the program. Of course, Ken will join me later from London on the program. Mayemi Ajala also will be joining me later on the program. And of course, we'll try as much as possible to have Toyin Bitoye joining us to talk about this national sports policy. Remember, he works with the sports minister now, so you understand what it means and what it is for those that will be embracing the national sports policy, which everyone is really, you know, happy in talking about. Also, Samuel Ahmadu will be joining me on this segment, and we will be talking about the CAF Women's Champions League. He's in Morocco, of course, you know, writing for CAF and also covering the Bayelsa Queens, what the girls are doing there. But first, we'll start with the national sports policy. Yes, it's been going on for a long time. Everyone has been talking about this. We've been waiting for it to see how will it go. How is it going to benefit, you know, those that are involved in it? But then the Federal Executive Council on Wednesday happens to approve that national sports industry policy, which will actually help, you know, giving incentives to those that are investing in sports. There's also the tax exemption, the rebate for 5 years. There's the land provision, the waiver for certain fees on land meant for sports. So it's a good thing that is also coming in. Also, you have the single-digit loan interest rates for corporate organizations and private individuals investing in sports venue. It simply means that companies can actually invest in sports venue, and of course, they will be having a single-digit loan to be able to do that. So corporate individuals can also build stadiums stadiums for sports activities, and rebates will be there, tax exemption and all of it. These are some of the things that the federal government has come up with for, sports industry to really grow, because sports right now is a business. It's no longer something you say, oh, it's to take the youth off the street. It's more than that right now. Yes, you're taking the youth off the street, but then people are making money, and the only way you can do that is for this kind of policy to be in place for people to benefit from it, and also for sports to grow in Nigeria. Let's listen to the Minister for Sports, Minister for Youth and Sports Development, talking about Sunday Diary, talking about this policy and what it means for those that will be investing in sports and also for sports federations.
The approval also covers incentives for private investors in sports development. Approved were the proposed tax and fiscal incentives needed to drive sports as business and also to attract the much needed investment from the private sector. The approval also covers the ability of the sports ministry to drive the application of a medley of funding and financing approaches to develop our infrastructure and to develop our sports. From ROT, which is renovate, operate and transfer, to BOT, build, operate and transfer, to the integrated national financing framework, INFF, and also the Nigeria Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan. All of these have been approved as approaches we can employ to boost sports as business.
Yeah, these are some of the things that will boost sports as business. Remember, he said immediately he was appointed as a minister, he mentioned that the federal government had decided to classify sports as a business. Once sports has been classified as a business, simply means, well, a lot is going to go into it, not just mere recreation. That's the essence of this. Well, Ken is ready to join me from London. Ken, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Sisi. It's welcoming news. Sometimes we say it as sweet music to our ears.
Yeah.
When you say, look, the bin of sport development actually is funding. Talents abound everywhere. Like you said, come out of your street, or if you're driving on, just drop football. Just drop football. Don't bother to look back. In the next, if you give it 5 minutes, not up to 5 minutes, you will see kids everywhere running around, even adults going to play. It is natural. Running is part of our system. Jumping is part of our system. We have a culture of sport in Nigeria. So what has been there is, the wherewithal, to do this. The facilities are not there. The facilitators themselves, the coaches, the physios, the referees, even starting from the kindergarten level, how many we used to have PE teachers in those days. Those PE teachers are not even trained. You just assign them. You are the PE teacher. You love sport. Go and be there. But we need to have trained teachers right from when they are 3-4 years old. Who is going to take them? If you come over this area, you will see as you're driving by, you see kids you will see them playing football, playing everywhere in the counties, where they are training the kids, we are learning it as kindergarten. So government coming with this, I think this, like you said, when this minister came in, of course they tried it before. We're talking about our stadia being put in place, giving it to certain individuals or corporate organizations. We saw Julius Berger doing that at Abuja. We saw another organization, I think. The Soname Group taking over the National Stadium to put it up, to that minimum standard that is required, so that we can do that. Some of these are just the edifices have become white elephants in the long run. But not just that. We say National Stadium and Abuja Stadium. How many persons in Lagos will have 20 local government, about 57 or so, LCDAs? Are you going to move from Badagry or from where? I know people who live in Ikorodu to come and try the National Stadium. But when it is nearness to them, when you put the facilities close to them, that is what it is. That is what we kind of motivate them. You are seeing the facility, you are seeing the schools, and that is what it is. we've said it a long time ago that in most of our schools, when the Lagos State government, I mean, as Lagosian, and you look on there, you can talk about that. When you give schools, you give them license to go and open nursery school, you go and open a private primary and secondary schools. I mean, there is no space for them for you to say, okay, where is the sport facility that you are going to have? Are you going to have a basketball pitch? Is it a hockey pitch or whatever? Some of them don't even have parking space for cars, talk less of where the kids are going to exercise. So these are the things. It is not enough for you to just say, okay, the brain and the the body. I would say develop the body and the soul, but then the brain, as you are developing the brain, you must develop the body that will carry that brain along. So these incentives given to corporate organizations. Yes. Look, you're not going to. We're going to give you lands for you to build it. Your interest rate will just be single digit, not more than that. He's talking about the ROT. When you renovate, that is RO. The renovation, the R is a renovation. Renovate, operate and transfer. ROT after you transfer, give it to you. Or the BOT, which is you are building. B is B. You are building afresh. They give you a land you build for the country. 15, 25 years or so. There are whatever it is. So okay, you give it back to the communities that are there. So we need community health, sports centers. And that is what will, where the kids need. That is where they want to run. That is where they want to jump. That is where they want to leap. That is where they want to play football. That's where they want to play basketball. That's where they want to play hockey. The things are all there, even gyms for them to train. So these things are a lot more that we want to see. This is a good thing that, the government bring those places. We hope that, the enabling environment and the business environment to be enough for them because it's from their profits that they want to make this. If it's not surviving, I don't see how you want to talk about trying to put it there. So I think so there are companies do that, and we know that yes, this is a very, very good how do I say policy from the government, like you said, moving sports from recreation into business. That sports is business. It's going to earn us a lot of money. A lot of Brazil, if I tell you how much Brazil make, one of these programs we should do that in just transfer of players. Breakdown. I did that, so I think one of those players left to read Betis that year. I think I did that figure. I will try and do it again. Maybe we shall look at it here and know how much they earn from that. We can earn much more than Brazil. We have more talented players than the Brazilians, and then we have the quantity, we have the quality. But we need to train them here so that when they go out, they will not be like raw materials. They'll be almost like finished products, so that when they can fit in there and earn enough money for us. That a player will leave from here to go to North Africa. They will buy them for 20,000, 30,000, and then when they go to North Africa will sell them for millions. And the money will go to the North African economy and not to our own economy. We need to look at these things, and this is the direction the government is going, and that is the right direction. Yeah, and we hope that the sports policy will fully implement it, because it's implementation which is really key. Because if you read the whole thing, I mean, the whole policies, and you go through it, it's also going to create an avenue for improving of funds, for different federations. That also will also help in the discovering of talent and also developing these talents you just mentioned. Jonathan Kwabari, of course, will be joining us on the program. Yes, I've seen him. I don't know if he's ready to join us on the program, especially on this sports policy. Are you sure Jonathan joined us or Toyi? Did Jonathan join or Toyi? You are in love with Jonathan. Jonathan was with us last week. Okay. I'm expecting that Toyi to join us. Okay. They are the ones that put in this policy. Yes. Yeah, of course. I told him. Yeah, and Samuel Ahmed is also here. But then before we get Samuel Ahmed talking, because I'm going to ask him one or two questions concerning the sports policy. There's also the issue of the national sports. We saw the visuals that were rolling earlier, on the sports festival when the minister was meeting with the LOC and also other stakeholders concerning the national sports festival. Let's listen to him on how the sports festival Delta 2022 can actually leverage on the national sports policy.
We have a history of picking some of our best athletes from the National Sports Festival. And that is why this year we want to take it a notch higher. The sports industry policy that was approved places Nigeria on the same pedestal with other sports-loving nations. And the challenge will be how far and how fast can we run with it. And we will run with it. Delta is our first test case. We showcase Delta to the corporate world and other groups, and we hope from there our sportsmen and women can start to benefit from the sports industry policy.
All right. right, welcome back. I mean, Ken, you listened to, what he said concerning the Delta 2022. Yes, we know there's well, maybe next week we'll talk about the National Sport Festival, proper, because we need to talk about the sports that have been removed from it, especially the traditional sports. I know that those people are really not happy. The para athletes were not happy at first, and then they were asked to come back. But then now you don't have the traditional sport. But that will be a topic for another day. But the sports policy, the way Delta 2022 can actually benefit from this, because they need all the commercial, all the commercials, they will need so much money to actually pull this up together. We know that, yes, their stadium is trying to be ready, the track and everything. They're trying to, refurbish the Asaba Stadium. But then we are waiting for that. But how can they really leverage from it? The minister has already given them a cue on what to really do.
Delta shouldn't be a hard sell, Sisi. Delta in sports, the National Sport Festival, shouldn't be a hard sell. I remember, I think, was it in Kaduna 77, when then, the state, the midway, when it used to be Bendel then, they got about 70, I think about 70-something, 78 or so gold medal, while the next team, Lagos, was in 23 or 24. So if you check the tables, the all-time tables of the National Sport Festival, Delta has won this competition of more than 50%. That is Delta on 50%, and all other states in the country having that. Starting from Midwest to Bendel to Delta as it is. So it shouldn't be a hard sell. Delta is an oil-producing state. The oil producing the companies who are in that sector should be able to do that. Delta is there in the Niger Delta, fisheries you can get whatever. So corporate organizations, because the talents are all there. From moving from Ndokwa to Isoko to Robo to Ijo, because the ethnic groups make it that diversity, give them that competition that you are going to have in Delta. So it is something that for anybody who that, like we're saying, this is a business thing, and then now the incentives are now coming. So it is not a problem. The banks are there, the oil industry are there, the manufacturing industries are there. So a lot of things. The Delta is not where you say, okay, we don't have companies who have a strong capital base to sponsor the National Sport Festival. Like the minister said, this is key. This is the grassroots. This is where you discover them, and this is how you develop them. And that is why you see, for some time, Delta was even going abroad, the US and to pay athletes to come for the National Sport Festival. It shouldn't be, because locally they've been competing. Maybe River State, Lagos State, Edo came in for some time, and then maybe the Bayelsa that is coming up with what they are doing. Those are the states you can say comparing with Delta State. So it is this on this OCC. It's not supposed to be a hard sell to market the National Sport Festival being hosted by Delta State. Yes. Apart from the state having a muscle to do that, corporate organizations should benefit, because it's going to be an array of talents locally. Delta will now have, they won't be participating in all those, when you say, regional playoffs to decide which team will qualify. Almost all Delta teams will qualify automatically to this festival. So I know they are going to win. They'll be winning. So you are winning. There is not when you want people to support you, and that's okay, fine. Not just for the nation, but for Delta and the nation at large. Then you can always do that. So this is, marketing is a bit difficult. I understand that. It's not as if it is easy, because like I said, a company must make profit before they can survive. You understand? If you are in corporate responsibility, you are dying. If you cannot pay salaries, if you cannot run at full capacity, how do you now have enough money to now say you want to use that to put into any other, whether it is sports or roads or whatever? There are a lot of social responsibility in schools that need the attention of these corporate organizations. But like I said, but in Delta, I think it is not. It won't be that much difficult to rally them to come in to help the state and achieve success.
All right. Okpeyemi Ajala is in the building. He just joined us while we're listening to the sports minister talking about how Delta states can leverage on the sports policy to, drive the National Sports Festival. Okpeyemi, how you doing?
Yeah, thanks, Ken, for having me. And I heard all what Ken said. But I also like to add, in addition, it's not Delta demographic-wise. Lagos states like the France, of Nigeria, where you have the cosmopolitan structure. But when it comes to sport, I think Delta is the France of Nigeria. And I'm saying this, it was a deliberate process. And I think we should give kudos to Governor Ibori. Yes, they've been winning when they were Bendel. But when it became, you know, Bendel was Edo and Delta. When it became only Delta, the sport festival, what it did was, they were not mercenaries. They got athletes. You know, you also need to train, your grassroots need to train against the best. So they went for the best, ensured they were properly staffed in the Civil Service Commission. So it was not as if you were coming every sports festival competition. So they were staff employees of Delta State government. So they were there and they trained the local lads. So you have the very best. Even the guys they recalled from diaspora, they were staff of Delta State. So they have that structure in place where for a long time to come, Delta State will continue to dominate the National Sports Festival. So I think it was something that was well thought out plan, and I think they are actually reaping from that process. Okay.
What do the sports policy that have been approved by the Federal Executive Council, you know, put forward, proposed by the Minister for Sport, led by Sunday Dare? What do you think about this sports policy? What they brought out, land waiver for those who want to invest in sports, single digits for loan, and of course you also have the tax rebate, and of course the 5 years tax exemption for corporate bodies that want to put their money into sports. Yes,
basically we are talking about the pioneer status, where companies that are coming first mover. It's like this is a virgin industry. We are migrating sport from play, as the minister says, to serious business. So it's like this is a new ground. Let every come inside and enjoy that pioneer status that applies to people, to willing taxpayers. Now, I think where we give kudos to this minister is this. When during the time of after London 2012, President Jonathan convoked this presidential retreat on sport, where we had the sport minister, Okonjo-Iweala, and every top shot in the administration, in the executive council board. The deliberation from the two-day retreat, I don't think it was approved, because that's why we are having something to fall back on. Now, this is a policy, not it's now open. Everybody can access it. You can, based on that, you can tell FIRS or whichever that, look, I'm not supposed to pay this type because I have this waiver. So you have something. Corporate bodies now have something to fall back on. So I think it's very good. Sport industry is now, just like when they were giving mining licenses, maybe when you have no tap, we also need to come on board, because now we have a new grant, a pioneer industry that will need people to come on board and actually help to develop the sport industry. So with all the waivers and all the benefits in place, I think corporate organizations will now be willing to do business in the sporting industry. All right, let's go for a break. Welcome back. It's a visuals highlight coming from the game between Rivers United and El Nasri. That game ended at 5-0. Of course, we'll be talking about the CAF Confederations Cup right now. It's the second preliminary round for Rivers United. If they're able to win the second leg, of course, they will get into the group stage of the CAF
Confederations Cup. Very quickly, it was a good one for both teams at the weekend. You had Plateau United winning their game 4-1. Rivers United, of course, also winning theirs 5-0. Both playing against a teams from Libya, and it was a resounding victory at home.
Yes, have to drop down from the more prestigious CAF Champions League to the second-rate club competition in Africa. I think it's good to show our might, and I think I've overemphasized this. We've always been in the top 3 when it comes to the second-rate competitions in Africa. When it was Cup Winners' Cup, for a decade, Nigerian teams were playing the finals. We only played for about 8 years in 10 years in the finals of the then Mandela Cup. So we were the first winner of the Cup Winners' Cup, first winner of the CAF Confederations Cup. So we were the first and second winner of the CAF Confederations Cup, now merged with the Cup Winners' Cup to form this. So this has only been our fourth. Unlike the Champions League, where from 2014, we've only played the group stages twice. Yeah, we've been, of course, getting to the group stages semi-final. So I think, and against Libya side, who cannot call proper North African side because of what they are going through right now. These are very good and resounding results. But again, we've had instances where we won 3-0 here and went away to Sudan to lose 4-0. So I hope this will not be the situation this time. So these are by any indication.
That's why they have to score 5.
Yes, even Plateau United 4. So I think
they need to
by
lose
any standard,
by 3-0. They need to lose by 3-0 for them to go through. Rivers need to lose by 4-0 for them.
But again, Rivers United, they won 3 in Nigeria and went to Sudan and lost 4-0. So I hope this will not say, but on the face value, these are very, very good and interesting results.
The results are coming from both sides. All right, that's the pictures coming from the game that was played right here in Nigeria in Port Harcourt. For Rivers United, it was a 5-0 victory. Good one for them going into the second leg. For Plateau United, they've already traveled, out of Nigeria. They left this morning going to Libya, and hopefully they need to avoid that 3-0 debacle for them to get into the next round. All right, we'll leave in this one and quickly talking about the CAF Women's Champions League. This is where Samuel Amedo will be joining us on the program. Yeah, Samuel, it's been a good one. Yes, I would say, yes, I can boldly say it's been a good one, because when you have your first game against defending champions, it's always going to be hard. But they lost by 2-0, and the team they will be 2-1. The team they will be facing tonight lost 5-0 to the same defending champions. So after that, they bounced back. They were able to beat TP Mazembe 2-0. And of course, Wadi Degla lost 1-0 in the first game. Second game, they lost 5-0. For Mamelodi Sundowns and Bayelsa Queens, yes, that game ended 2-1 in favor of Mamelodi Sundowns. But Bayelsa Queens since then have been able to bounce back. Samuel, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Great to be part of the show this Sunday afternoon, Ceci.
All right, Bayelsa Queens, you followed their games. You're right there in Morocco watching all the games. The team so far that have impressed you, apart from, of course, on our Nigerian team.
Yeah, well, I think it's been a very interesting tournament so far. The level has been incredible, so high. The competition has been intense, and when you see the results and seeing how teams are really doing or holding their own, you definitely know that these are a group of champions from various regions of the continent. And at this level, there's no mediocre team. And regardless of whatever result these teams record, it's obviously just based on the strength of their region. And it's amazing to see how the game has evolved and how the competition in just the second edition is already gathering momentum. And definitely this shows that there's a great prospect for the game of women's football in Africa. And it's exciting what we're seeing. And besides Bayelsa Queens, I think one team that I really hold great fears for, and I would desire we're not meeting them anytime soon, is Simba. Honestly, they did an incredible job against Green Buffaloes yesterday. This is a team everyone was tipping to possibly go all the way. But surprisingly, they were being caught to size by Simba, the Tanzania champions, and also Sekafa representatives. And Simba becoming the first team from the East African region to even go to the final, beating a Southern African champion. And this speaks only about what other regions in Africa do possess at the club level, the great potentials. But when you look at the Simba team, this is a team that's composed of six different international foreigners, different countries. They have a Nigerian, they have a Congolese player, they have two Congolese players, they have a Ghanaian, they have a Kenyan. They have players quite from a number of different other African countries.
United
so they
Africa.
Are obvious. I'm telling you, they're possibly looking like they're composed of almost all the whole Africa and keen to probably form a French national team somewhat at the club level. So I think they are a team that at the margin, I think they are really pulling the weight. And it's so surprising to believe that this is happening, especially when the coach of the team only just got appointed 3 weeks to the tournament and only had 3 weeks to prepare this team for this competition. But it's encouraging how you see teams like Simba, teams like top teams, Sundowns, they are really making huge investments into women's football and not just playing a lip service. And when I hear the coach speaks, I marvel about what encouragement these administrations, especially when the CEO of the club too is a woman. I think it's encouraging that when we see women in positions, they should really be able to match up their thoughts with the level of commitment and investment they commit to the women's game and also to our women's team. So I think beside Bayelsa United, Bayelsa Queens, one team I really don't mind is Simba Queens, and I think they've managed to show themselves by getting to the semi-finals. And I think it's really getting to where a stage where everybody knows, yes, the girls, the ladies, the women have been separated from the girls. So for tonight, I think we're anxious to see what will happen.
Yeah, we're really anxious because, for Bayelsa Queens to be able to bounce back from that 2-1 loss and beating TP Mazembe. But against Wadi Glaziers, we've seen what they've done. 1-0 losing, 5-0. They've conceded 6 goals, not scoring any. So it seems this will not be a difficult game for Bayelsa Queens, right? Yeah,
for me, it's surely will be difficult. Definitely, Wadi Degla will be looking like a team lying low, like I won't say laying low, looking like a banana peels for them.
Yeah.
Definitely, they had their worst campaign. They never imagined this. This is a North African champion, and definitely they seem shocked by how the level of competition, the intensity of the event, the tournament, and the group again, overwhelming pressure, especially after losing their first game to newcomers. They were the hosts last year, and they were just by a stroke of luck missed out on the semi-final place after even garnering 4 points. So it tells you that it's really going to be tightly contested. And at this point, they have also a lot going against them in this tournament. At the start, they had 4 players out for COVID, second game same time, and injuries at some level. For me, understanding some of the internal challenges of some of these teams, it's crazy. But at the same time, this is it. This is a competition, and no doubt they were also probably not up to the level in terms of strength, in terms of physicality. Almost all the teams in their group are just some very, very strong sides. So you see the Mazembe side, even against Bayelsa Queens, they were unpredictable. They were everywhere. They were just also unlucky not getting some goals because they had great chances in critical positions. So, and thankfully we also had a goalkeeper who was at her best, especially seeing her to have won that player, woman of the match. I think it's a very great intensity we're going to see today. But no doubt they already feel down and out. But realistically, it's interesting that with the way the competition is being set up, even Wadi Degla could even still qualify. And how? If they get a win against Bayelsa Queens, and as long as Sundowns beat TP Mazembe, Wadi Degla will only need a margin of 4 goals more to have a chance of progressing. So for the group, even as we stand, no team has qualified to the semi-finals. As Sundowns are not through yet, so the same goes to all other teams in the group. So but despite everyone feel, Sundowns had 3.6 points, they are not through yet mathematically because it's a head-to-head counts at this level and not goals difference. So this is it, and this is why it is a must-win game for Bayelsa Queens. Same for Mazembe too, also who are going up against Sundowns in Marrakech. So we definitely know it's going to be a tough game for all the teams involved. just like we saw yesterday, it was an intense competition between Green Buffaloes and Simba Queens. But again, we saw the Tanzanian girls did pull through. And again, I won't appreciate being a conveyor of bad news, but again, we also have a major blow for Bayelsa Queens. They are big star, and also the only goal scorer against Sundowns is out in person of Anjo Mary. She had a terrible injury in training yesterday, and from reports, I understand she could be out. But again, I think possibly gives opportunity to the other players, and exactly good news for them. They have the likes of Etim Edidion from the Under-17 national team who came in 2 days ago. So definitely they have also good options on the bench who could possibly drive the team to success against Wadi and also take them all the way to the final. So I think it's really, it could go that way. So definitely one must hope the girls come to the party and do the best. Hopefully they can break that jinx Rivers Angels couldn't last time.
Hopefully they can do that. I think Ken Ochonogo has 1 or 2 questions for you before we let you go. Ken, over to you. Okay, Ken, please, you have to unmute yourself.
I think I muted my mic.
Right.
I'm just Sam, I don't know. There is this kid. She's playing for Bayelsa. That was in Edo. I'm trying to get her name. That was in Edo Queens.
Sebastian Flourish.
Sebastian Flourish, I guess.
Yes, Sebastian Flourish. Is she with Bayelsa United?
Yeah, she has been involved in the 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's been a hell of a player for all the teams.
Yes, but with that one, Sam, my mind calmed down. My mind calmed down.
Yeah, but the competition, unfortunately, it really doesn't offer much positives. Her presence is few, but at the same time, when you look at the quality of players in the other teams, you'll marvel.
Do we have other, like in Bayelsa United? Do we have some other African players, or they are just by Nigerian players that are involved in Bayelsa United?
I think our goalkeeper is from Cameroon. Goalkeeper, and they also have a couple of players from other countries. Unfortunately, I think they have 2 players, if I'm not mistaken, from Cameroon. They had another player from Zambia, but I think the player didn't make the tournament, didn't make the final squad. So we have a little bit of mix, but regardless, I think we also have a Ghanaian in our team. We have a Ghanaian in our team, yes. So 2 Cameroonians, 1 Ghanaian. So I think it's still a very tight, a very thick squad, but at the same time, at this level, it's a Power Rangers, and teams are looking to grind out results, whatever means they can.
Yeah, you see Bayelsa United going to the semi-finals. You see them going to the semi-finals.
I think they have it in their hands. Thankfully for the win they had against Mazembe. For me, I think it's a strong response from the team, and I think at this level, you definitely don't have to count your eggs before you lay them. So I think this is what matters. They know they need to go all out and win by any means. But again, at this level, we also need to see a convincing win. Great, we saw how they came back, even though not convincing against Mazembe. We know the level we saw against Sundowns, even though they didn't win, but the competitiveness of our team. Even Sundowns are yet to wake up from the shock that, yes, this is what they are expecting to see in this competition. I'm telling you, this is it. And the level is high. So I think we need to see that replication of that good form. And obviously in attack, I think we have a lot of work to do in our teams. And I think this is it. When you look at the Sundowns team, seeing the experience they've gained from this competition, and also see the strength of players they've had, especially players having close to 6 internationals who already won the tournament and also were involved in the Women's African Cup of Nations prior of Bayana. You definitely know that truly such strong mentality, composure is really working for them. So I think it's that level our players need to acquire. They just need to brace up to that challenge and at least ensure, yes, we don't just claim to be champions in our own domain. This is where we need to show, yes, we are capable of ruling the continent, and it doesn't come easy, especially when it's at this level.
Okay, briefly, let me just ask you this. Looking at the second half of their game against Sundowns, does that performance give you hope that if we are to meet again, probably in the semi-final or final, that Bayelsa United has a chance of, beating Sundowns?
Yeah, definitely. But for me, I think a lot of lessons has been taken from the game. And like I did said earlier, you see a team like Simba. Simba lost their first game to the hosts. And the goal they considered was just by chance, and it's a goal they shouldn't have. But again, they bounced back from that game. They won their second game clinically against the Tamil Girls, and now they showed Green Buffaloes that Green Buffaloes who defeated Sundowns to win the regional tournaments. They've shown, yes, they are better off, and that's the strong message. So you can't do better. Sending strong messages to your opponents, especially with every game. And this is where we just need them to keep that level. We need them to put in more. I don't know how. I know definitely Bayelsa States are doing so much to motivate the girls, ensuring that, yes, they remain at the top level as much as possible. But again, that concern about the inconsistency of our girls also coming. So one game cannot define the other. The level of opposition to at various stages is also different. You see a team like Sundowns, the coach watched our team play for the first 10-15 minutes. He intentionally dropped some players from his starting squad. You never could see this, but I could anticipate because I know most of these players in the South African team. So it's intense at this level. The same thing this Simba coach did. He rested some of his key players, especially in the forward. He allowed his team to they choke and also soak the pressure of the Green Buffaloes. Came in the second half, overrun them when they knew their defense were tired, and got those 2 goals. This is it. It's strategy. So you can't imagine the level of playing, the planning and the tactical plan. It's also key. So it is one thing to think you have the quality, it's another thing to plan very well for such game.
All right. I mean, Sam, we just have to leave you there. Thank you so much for taking our time to join us again today. Hopefully, we'll talk to you next week, Sunday. You also give us updates concerning that, because Bayelsa Queens is not just the hopes of Nigerians they are carrying, also that of West Africa. So they need to get into the last 4 to also emulate what Asaka Queens of Ghana did the last time in 2021 when they were the ones that were there with Rivers Angels, who couldn't make it past the group stage. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure always, and happy Sunday to everyone.
All right. Wait a minute, quickly, just in 30 seconds, just wrap this up for us. Bayelsa Queens and their chances against Wadi Degla, who were there last time. This is their second time, in the championship. But Bayelsa Queens making their debut in the CAF Women's Champions League. Yeah,
for the Egyptian ladies, I think after the scandalous 5-0 defeat, the morale will be down, and Bayelsa coming back, the bounce from that loss, opening match loss. So I think it's a game designing stars for Bayelsa Queens.
Okay, designing the stars. Hopefully they can grab that, because right now it's in their hands for them to lose that ticket to the semi-finals. All right, we're leaving the women and quickly a touchdown on the FIFA World Cup. Yes, it's 14 days, just 2 weeks to the FIFA World Cup. And today we'll be taking a look at the teams that will be missing some key players. I mean, so many players. I mean, injuries are piling up daily. I mean, that is not what we want to see. But before we talk about the injuries, we'll have to go on a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the injury list for the World Cup and also look at the top 10 African stars that have scored goals, double digits. Not double, oh, they're all on single, yeah, single digits at the FIFA World Cup.
This is tonight, Las Vegas. I never thought we'd get so many people here on the Strip to come and see Formula One. Give it up for Formula One tonight in Vegas. And I think we are ready to fire up that 1.6-litre V6 turbo engine. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, George Russell. And this, driving the 2011 Red Bull, is Sergio Perez. Weber, and for Red Bull, but never in the Drivers' Championship, as Red Bull finished 1 and 2. Sergio currently championship table. Can he hang on to second place? Tens of thousands of people lining the side of the Las Vegas Strip. The Bellagio fountains dancing in the background while Sergio Perez, one-handed.
Oh, no hands going out.
Oh, how goes that?
Come on, guys, make some noise for a no hand.
Give it up, Las Vegas, for Lewis Hamilton!
All right, we'll take a look at the top 10 African goal scorers at the FIFA World Cup. Yes, surprise, surprise, you have Nigerians there, 2 of them precisely. So there you have them. Kenneth Chonoga is going to take us through this one. Asamoah Gyan, yes, he's retired from football, but he said he was going to come back, but it's not going. But 6, I mean, that's a high, that's a low. Roger Miller, 5. Ahmed Musa, number 4. And of course, he has Samuel Eto'o. You have Papa Diop is also there. Daniel Amokachi on 2. Henry Camara 2. Didier Drogba is also there. Sean Bartley of South Africa. Patrick Mboma. These are the top 10 African goal scorers in FIFA World Cup. You'll be thinking it should have been more than this, Ken, right? I mean, I'm just looking at no double digits, all on single digits. Africans, wake up.
It's difficult. It's difficult to score double digits at the World Cup. It's very, very difficult. As Asamoah Gyan would have scored 7 goals for now. Because that goal that would have made it the 7th goal, during the 2010 World Cup, is what we we are going to look at today. Roger Miller, of course. I tell you, who will forget Roger Miller 90? Even coming back in 1994, I think Okwe can even discuss that better. When Oleg, he was the only one that replied Oleg Salenko, when they tried to roost Cameroon right there at the 1994 World Cup. So Roger Miller is dancing, against Colombia, the great Higuita, and it tells you of the story of African football, the history of African football, the beauty of African football, the Makossa of African football, and that is what you get from. That is what we are expecting. The Cameroonians will still be there this time. The Ghanaians will be there. Nigeria, Ahmed Musa, our top scorer at the World Cup. When he scores again. He has scored 4 goals, and those 4 goals were scored in just 2 matches. He has scored in 2 World Cup, and that is a man of history. So, replying against in 2014, himself versus Messi. Messi is scoring, he is scoring. Messi is scoring, Ahmed Musa is scoring. So Nigeria wouldn't be there this time around. But then the Musa's record remains. He's our top scorer. Dan Amokachi did that, beautiful. Every goal that was scored in 1994 were not just a beauty, but the celebrations that came with those goals will tell you something. You see him dancing, you see Finidi knocking, you see our first World Cup goal where the great Rashidi Yakini was shouting Allah Akbar, trying to tear the net when he scored that, and then it's one of the most iconic World Cup goal celebrations in history. So this time around, you can see them. You can see all of them. Samuel Eto'o, he is there, and then he is the top scorer at the AFCON. So he is, a man who has been almost runners-up at the World Footballer of the Year. Will tell you how far this African son has gone to make us proud, not just in the World Cup scoring those 3 goals, but also in other competitions where he represented his country, represented his continent, our continent, with distinction. So goals are what it is. I expect maybe as somebody said he wants to go there this time around, and I don't think Ando is looking at his own side. He would have said, let me go and top it. Roger Miller has retired. Ahmed Musa will not be going. So who is the next person that want to do that for Africa, I think you have to look down to see. Probably there might be a player who will score from these teams that are going, who will score 5 goals in this tournament. It is not impossible. So basically, but for now, that is the list of Africa scoring. Been taught by Asamoah of Ghana, and then Ghana is going. But probably, with this injury, something might just happen. You cannot rule anybody out, even with 2 weeks to the World Cup, with 14 days to the World Cup, and because they are playing till on the 13th.
Yes.
World Cup, they are playing till 7 days before the World Cup. The leagues will still be on, and that is why this World Cup is a different World Cup.
Yeah, it is really different. So, I mean, you look at the names, the list of these players, they've all retired, right? All of them with the 2 goals. So obviously we need new players that can be in the top 10.
And I think my challenge with African teams when it gets to the global level is this: even when we have those teams that are available for roasting, we don't take our chances. It took, I think, Panama for Hurricane to get the top scorer award in the last World Cup, or like getting his hat trick. So even when we, except for the Confederations Cup, where we handled the Haitians, Nnamdi Odumadu and co. So when we even get the luck of the draw, we actually struggle. Oh, Jamila, that is stopping. Not forget that he was in 82. He didn't score. He came back to 90 when he got the 4 goals then, 94 again. So I think we need to be sharper. But again, it's not that it's not in our gene. The great Yusebiu, who was the top scorer in 66, was born and bred in Mozambique. He was exported from Mozambique to Portugal. So yeah. We have Africans who have really done well for other teams, but when they put on the African jersey, the African color, waving the African flag, I think we've always had problems scoring. But I also think if we have gotten it right in 2002 with our squad, I think we'll have had more scorers from the Nigerian side.
Yeah, I think Ken was saying something to you. I mean, he was talking about...
I was asking, does that include Rabamaja? Does that include those guys?
No. Rabamaja was in 82 and 86, and of course, you know, in fact, they call it the shame of this city. The shame of Dijon, where the Austrians and Germans they skimped out the Algerians, and that was the basis where FIFA said, look, every last group match must be played simultaneously because they rigged the Algerians out. So the Algerians will have gone further, and of course Rabanja will have done better. But it was in 82. They had a good team in 82, but 86, of course, after losing to the Brazilian training, so they never found their footing. So I think Rabamaja could have done better, but again, we have African grade, but again, we need to do better when it gets to the World Cup.
Yeah, all right, quickly, let's take a look at those players that are not going to the World Cup because of injuries. They are country qualified, but they would not be there. We started with Tariq from Morocco, who will not be going. Bonassa from Senegal, Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante, Kamara, Magnan, all from France. They would not be going to the World Cup because of injury. And of course, you move over to Germany, only Timo Werner that is confirmed right now that will not be going. But then you go to another country that have so many of them. Before we go to the one that have so many, which is Portugal, England has just 2 on the list. Reece James and Ben Chilwell would not be able to make it to the World Cup. Diego Jota, Pedro Neto, Ricardo Pereira, all of Portugal, they will not be going to the World Cup. For Brazil, it's just Arthur Melo, who they will not really miss, will not be going to the World Cup. I mean, a long list of injured players that would not be at the World Cup. So these players will obviously be missed. I mean, Ken, a quick one on this one. I think you can do this in just 1 minute.
Yeah, in just 1 minute. Like you say, you can look at the Portuguese team. Diego Jota, I think they are still saying probably there is outside chance. For Timo Werner, you know, in fact, they were trying to conceal it when he got that injury. They didn't want to make it open, but the world today he's been injured. But as it is now, I don't think he's likely to make it. You looked at the English team. Reece James has been out, and then you know Ben Chilwell just adding it up there. So it's going to be a very, very, very difficult team for them. For the world champions, N'Golo Kante is not going. Paul Pogba is not going. So how are they? But understand that the French have this galaxy of stars that they keep on churning out. They will still have 7 days to go for active football. Rushing to this Winter World Cup, you know, they are squeezing things. They are squeezing the league, squeezing the Champions League, squeezing the cup. A lot of things. I mean, so the players are prone to injury. Too much football at too little time for recuperation before, because the body is not a machine. So you just have to, you know, play and rest. And then a lot of them, sometimes when you want to be cautious, that is when you get injured. So most of them are not themselves. They want to be at the World Cup. They want the whole world to see them. It is the festival of football. And then when you are out, you don't know how it aches. It aches, CC. This really aches.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Quickly, South Korea, of course, one of the teams in Group H, and they are poster boy, so to speak. I mean, the boy that is known as football in South Korea may not just be at the World Cup. Nay, although he had a successful surgery, according to the South Korean FA, but then he's actually racing against a time to make it to the World Cup. I mean, this is heartbreaking for Koreans right now. Okay, I mean, this is what they had to say.
That is Group H. Okay,
so that's Group H. Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to get the quote coming from the federation. They said, "We've been informed by Spurs that the surgery went well and was successful." So hopefully this guy will be fit. Went for that to say that we think it is not the time to talk about Son's status for the World Cup. We are not saying it is impossible. We're just saying now. We are just saying now is not the time to discuss it. I mean, they are just putting everything on hold to see if this guy can make it. How much of a miss will he be if he will not make it? Because even the federation right now, they are not sure. They're not counting on him at all at this time.
You know, you said something about Melo, that the Brazilians will not miss him. If Son was just a squad player, he would have been written off and out of the World Cup. But because he's their talisman, so remember there was a time the Metasa became so popular when it was always affecting English player Beckham, Rooney. So because of his importance to this squad, that is why. If not, it should not be part of this World Cup. If they want to, but because everything has been commercialized, they might rush him to the World Cup. But with this level or level of injury, I think Son should be ruled out of this World Cup.
Well, now let's quickly take a look at Group H. The way it is, you have Portugal in that group, Ghana also, the Uruguay also, Ghana, Uruguay 2010. I remember that very well. South Korea is also in that group. So we start off with Portugal, where you have a race of stars. We mentioned about 3 players injured, but then the coach will not be sweating over it because his star player, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's got Bruno Fernandes, he's got Rafael Leo, João Felix, João Cancelo, Ruben Neves, Bernardo Silva. Okay, I've lost. There are so many. I mean, this is a talented squad. For Portugal, Uruguay, Ghana, South Korea. Obviously, the favorites from this group is Portugal, former European champions.
Yeah, former European champions, former European Nations League winners. So I think the pressure is off. This is like the last Euro for Cristiano Ronaldo. So they will go to the World Cup, and this time, yes, we've broken the course and the genes of going trophyless. Now we know what it takes, just like the Spanish team. They had to win the European Cup in 2008 before getting the World Cup and European Cup. So now that course of, yes, we can never be winners. Even the greatest we never did it. Now we've done it. Let's go and have a field day. Unlike the pressure they were in 2002 when they were tournament favorites and they lost. Even losing the Champions League on home soil, the Europe Cup on home soil in 2004. Now they know what it takes to win, which is the most critical element for them going to this World Cup. So they are going to the World Cup without pressure.
No pressure.
Yes.
Yeah, no pressure, because if you check, they lost in the last 16 Euros 2020, failed to qualify for the 2 Nations League, and also, I mean, they had to go through playoffs to even reach the World Cup. So right now, judging from the form, so obviously no one is looking at Portugal right now. So let's take a look at the next team, of course, it happens to be Uruguay. Uruguay, their chances also at this World Cup. Yes, you have a Luis Suarez who has gone back home to see how he can resurrect his football career. But Uruguay, how big are they at the World Cup?
Yeah, the first winner of the World Cup. When you are talking about multiple winners of the World Cup, you have to talk about and of course the Maracanaza blow to the Brazilians in 1950. So they had aging stars, and their long-serving coach Washington, I think Putin also. So he brought them even to Nigeria '99. He brought the under-21 team. So, but they are at they are trying to rebuild their squad now, because they have more guys from their South American league, so to speak, because their league is not as strong as what you have in Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia. So for them, the Goldens of this world, the Suarez, who you mentioned, of this world, they are. This is like their last time out with the national team. So now they have more of new players. So if they get to the quarterfinal, they will have overachieved.
Quarterfinals overachieved. And of course, next in the group, yes, Ghana. Let's come to Africa. Ghana, of course, I mean, they qualify at the expense of Nigeria, right here in Abuja, in Nigeria. Yes. Ghana going to the World Cup. What are their chances? New coach, I mean, when you look at the Ghanaian national team, and you're like, do you really know the players? I mean, Ken is going to talk about this one. You look at the players, you wonder, where are they all from? Apart from Thomas Partey, who happens to be, I mean, the biggest star that they have. Well, Ken, in 1 minute in this one, because time is running like fire. So they've gone through 3 coaches in 12 months, but they are the World Cup. That's what is important.
Yeah, sister, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. So this is what we are talking about. In 2010, we were just like this. Seconds away to the semi-final, and then Suarez instead of playing him. Of course, he was 2 stoppages. If you watch the clip of that before he touched the hand, the first one he cleared it off the line, and when the ball came the second time, he punched it, and that was it. Asamoah Gyan went to take the penalty, put this ball in the net and take Africa to her first semi-final. It was not to be. And that is why most players have not forgiven Suarez up till today. So going into that, Ghana has that on their mind. Remember also that in 2014, it was the Portuguese that sent Ghana out of the World Cup. So Ghana is going to say, Portugal and Uruguay, we have accounts to settle. We just talk about the Portuguese. In 2002, we also remember that it was the South Koreans that sent Portugal out of the World Cup. So everybody is going for a pound of flesh. Ghana has not played South Korea apart from the President Cup or so, which they played. They met 9 times, 4 victories each, but mostly on friendly level. This is the first time they want to do that. They have not forgotten what South Korea did to us in that same 2010. But you're talking about the players there. The IU brothers are still there. Even if Dede is about 32 now, so which means he's almost on going for his last World Cup. Nobody expected to go there at 36. But then Jordan, his younger brother, is doing with the Crystal Palace. He's making all there. There is Daniel Amati, the guy in Leicester. Beautiful, wonderful player, and you can't take that away from him. So Inaki, let me just say this. Inaki Williams, who is coming in, he has the record of playing every single match, over 230 matches. He has the record in back-to-back matches in La Liga. So Ghana is not going to ask over. We expect Ghana this time to get things done. Yeah.
All right, we expect them to get things done. Before we go, quickly, just touch down on Premier League, where you have Chelsea and Arsenal currently in action. You have Aston Villa and Manchester City will play later in the day. Southampton and Newcastle also in action later in the day. West Ham United and Crystal Palace, Tottenham and Liverpool will also be in action. For the game between Arsenal and, of course, Chelsea is still goalless. Aubameyang starting against his former team. But then we'll see who's going to take this one. But that's all for the show today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Ken, from you?
Yeah, it's lovely watching you guys. You guys are doing so well there, and we wish our guys. I want to. I'm dropping the pen now. Yeah.
Please drop it. Let's leave the studio.
This one is a Bible, not a pen, Ken.
That's a Bible, not a pen. Okay, as usual. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me, Sisi.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. See you again on Sunday.